Hey YouTube, Space Badger here, and today I'm going to talk to you about My Hero Academia Manga Chapter 214, the latest chapter that came out this week. And kicking off this week is the results of the top 10 popular fan characters of My Hero Academia, or Hero, as many people refer to it as. It's an incredible sort of double-page color spread. With the sort of top 10 characters sort of sprawled across the page. You can see Endeavor and Bakugo and obviously Deku and all the rest of them all standing in kind of gallant hero berserk-esque armor / stylistic patterns. It's very, very nice as an opening color spread. And we pick up with this chapter, of course, after the hype reveal last week that Deku was going to be inheriting a multitude of quirks, or rather unlocking a multitude of quirks as he develops the ability of One for All, which is amazing. Like, it means that there's some sort of ability or inherent ability that Deku has potentially, or it's just a time-based thing that allows him to now unlock the true potential of the quirk, because it's kind of heavily implied up to this point that every previous incarnation of the successor of the One for All quirk has only ever kind of been able to tap into one singular power, or perhaps had their own native quirk amplified to a certain degree. But it very heavily implies that Deku's the first one who's going to be able to master all of them. There might have been predecessors we don't know that could do multiple quirks at the same time. We might even find out that All Might is a sort of compilation of quirks from the previous users of One for All. But I'm fairly certain it's going to just be a Deku thing to be able to unlock all of that. And so right after sort of that cliffhanger off the last week, we jump straight into the showdown again between Deku and Shinsu. Shinsu, of course, helping Deku calm down using his mind control ability last time to take control of the kind of black whip power that, of course, he had. And their battle starts in full force. Shinsu's obviously been training under Aizawa a lot because he's become really proficient now with those sort of bondage bands that Aizawa uses to sort of lock and bind and disable people, especially their movements, and gets a really good shot off on Deku, who's kind of grabbed by the arm and kind of yanked away, and Urahara can't really do anything but look on as you see sort of Deku get flung off the top of a building and sort of go crashing onto the ground. But Deku's in a bit of a predicament because he's still feeling a bit sort of hesitant to use any of his quirks, even though he's had the whole speech from one of the previous successors about being in control of his heart, and that will allow him to sort of tap into the true potential of each respective One for All quirk. But he sort of reverts to what is kind of old school Deku's ideology, which is, even though I'm quirkless, I'm not incapable. And I've been watching My Hero Academia, the English dub, from the beginning again over the last couple of weeks, and like, innovative and sort of ingenuitive Deku is definitely Deku at his best for me as the sort of protagonist, is when he's really thinking on his feet. But unlike with all main sort of shonen protagonists where they can sort of think on their feet quickly, you kind of get a bit of insight into why Deku's good at that, and I really like that as a sort of differentiator from sort of Naruto or Luffy, who kind of have it instinctively, but it's almost like an over-analytical thinking on your feet, which I really like about his character. And so then, because of all the chaos that's been caused, all of the people from each respective group are kind of going at one another. We've got Poisons flinging around the field, we've got Moneta flinging his balls around the field, saving and acting the hero, of course, only to ever do sort of his standy pervy trolls and getting close to both body and bosom. And the whole sort of landscape just kind of becomes this poison, bally nightmare, which kind of traps the opposing group team in a bit. So, sort of builds the climax of that duo fight that's going on there, before we return back to Shinsu, Deku, Urahara, and this very ominous sort of character from Classroom B, who kind of goes in for the kill on Deku, trying to get a sort of shot off on him while he's distracted. Fortunately, Urahara manages to cut across him and sort of lock him down, and then apply her gravity power to kind of restrain him on the ground, which kind of leaves it Monama at sort of Urahara's expense somewhat. And in Shinso's sort of distraction at Urahara taking down Monoma, then Deku sweeps in, and just before Shinsu's about to Aizawa ban them, Urahara, and sort of release his teammate, Deku flies in, snaps the bandage out of the air, and sort of has a very kind of really... And look, there's always incredible artwork in My Hero Academia, but some of the shots in all of these sort of group fights have been absolutely stupendous. Like, they're really sort of action-heavy. Some of the best kind of contact-based paneling work I've seen since Z. Anyway, and then we go through, and Aizawa's going back and forth, and we get a bit of a short flashback on Aizawa teaching Shinsu how to use the bandages. Shinsu just being like, what on earth is this? Like, he's got bandages all around his head, and he can't see anything, and he's kind of like, can't manage to kind of constrain himself a bit like this, just on the floor of a mess. Because, like, obviously when he was introduced back in the sort of tournament arc, he was really, really OP in a kind of one-on-one fight, or even in a sort of surprise battle, because, you know, his quirk is really unique. But you can imagine that once his quirk power's out there, which is going to happen once he becomes a popular hero, people are going to know how to fight against him pretty quickly. Keep your mouth shut. Like, you know, you can't really do much if you're in the public domain, if that's your ability. I mean, unless he, like, gets a mask and kind of hides his face, but I think that's what all the bandages sort of work is. And I really like Shinsu as a character. I think he's one of the more sort of interesting characters that came out of that tournament arc. One of those people that I latched into, not just because he fought Deku, but his personality, and he was really atypical from everything we'd sort of seen in the Heroes arc. And I'm really interested to explore more of his personality, because you can tell there's sort of a bit of an affection there for his character and the development on his character as we go through this story. And Aizawa was just saying, people like you and me, we need to sort of be creative, and we need to sort of find our own abilities. But so then Shinsu manages to bust out a really impressive sort of bondage level ability where he sort of grabs all the debris around him and sort of brings and bandages it up and just flings it down, almost like sort of multi-tendrilled whipping bowling balls down on Deku if he's coming in. And Deku in that instant realizes he's really screwed, and there's nothing he can really do with any of his sort of quirkless innate abilities. So he realizes right in that moment that if he can just kind of tap into the ability that he's just used before, and he whips out, and we get this incredible shot of his black bands from the One for All quirk he's just unlocked, slapping away the bondage bands that Shinsu's applied to the sort of they're almost like what you get in construction sites, sort of those big sort of sanitary waste cinder pipes. And you see, the black banding just kind of snap out of Deku's arms. He does this great cross-arm shot and like slaps off the Aizawa bands, takes them over himself, and I assume is now going to land a pretty devastating counterattack against Shinsu in the climax of this group fight. And like, you know, I really like reading My Hero Academia week to week, but you know, sometimes it's worth posting about and sometimes not. This is a really like solid chapter, and I suppose I just wanted to produce a video today, and I was looking through, and you know, I'm going to kick off YouTube weeklies, because I always think YouTube weeklies of One Piece rather from next week, but with no One Piece chapter this week, I was kind of like looking at what had come out, and as I said, I've been watching, you know, My Hero Academia again back from the beginning, because I've been trying to get my missus into the series, and I was just like, you know what, 214 was a pretty solid chapter, a lot of fun, a lot of good action, a lot of good choreography, a bit of nice backstory. As I said, I really like Shinsu. So thought I'd give this one a go, get this one out there. I'm going to review all sorts of things week to week, day to day. I mean, a big Haikyuu fan as well, so maybe expect a review of that in the coming days as we wait for another One Piece chapter. And if you liked anything I had to say in this chapter, I mean, I would give this chapter probably a solid 3.5, 4 out of 5. Yeah, we'll say, something like that. And yeah, looking forward to seeing what happens next. I mean, there's a lot of other group arcs that we can get into. We need to wrap up this fight. I think it's pretty we're pretty certain at this point, you know, Classroom A is going to win this fight and sort of be the decider of these sort of group fights we're having. But yeah, I'm just hyped for My Hero Academia and seeing Deku evolve and getting more time in this universe, because it really is becoming the kind of next successor of that kind of mainstream shonen anime block. I think, you know, it's kind of in the same vein as Z to Naruto to this. I think these are the ones they've really seen. I mean, One Piece has kind of been this kind of left of center, never quite cracked mainstream, but has been the biggest thing in Japan, and any of us hardcore fans for now a long time, and is the most popular of all time. But the things that really penetrate the West, I feel like My Hero Academia really fits into that slot nicely, just like Naruto and Z does. So yeah, please like, comment, subscribe. Actually do. I mean, I know everyone says that, but like, that shit really helps me out. I don't have many views. I don't have many followers. I don't have many comments. So everything and anything at this very early stage would really, really be appreciated. I thank you ever so much. And even if you just hate me, give this a watch. I mean, fuck it. If my hair really pisses you off, just like slag me. I'm cool with it. I'll take it. I'm just a mercenary. I just want the money. I mean, I don't want the money, but I want your views. That's what I really want. I want your views, your feedback, your comments. So please, like, comment, and subscribe. Hate on my hair. My hair is awful. I mean, I love it, but I imagine a lot of people hate it. But I love you, though. Peace.